Okay, what's up, guys? So, WrestleMania has uploaded a video titled 10 Most Injury and Accident Prone WWE Wrestlers of All Time. Yeah, if y'all haven't, definitely go check out WrestleMania. They got a lot of videos up. Always got good videos. So, yeah, let's go ahead and let's see what injuries or let's see what wrestlers be getting injuries all the time. Because I know for the longest, I remember I was saying Triple H because it seemed like Triple H was on. But then as I got older, I was just like, sometimes these guys, they don't be getting injured. They just be doing these, like, injuries just to take a break. So I guess, I don't know, as a kid, I was just like, Triple H was, it felt like I was like, he was getting injured a lot because, when I started watching wrestling, I think he was out on injury, so.
See in a moment here. Watch Lesnar's head.
Yeah.
That's 295 pounds, ladies and gentlemen.
And there's like, and I guess they said it has something to do. I think there's like that John Laurinaitis or something like that. That it was like people, it was him, Kurt Angle. It was a lot of people telling him like, hey, you should do this stunt. And I think he wasn't feeling comfortable doing that stunt, but he did anyways. And he ended up, I think he ended up giving himself a concussion after doing that stunt. So.
Injuries in pro wrestling unfortunately go hand in hand. Being
That's
a pro
crazy.
wrestler is one of the most mentally and physically challenging avenues an athlete can go down.
Take a chance. Oh, no.
Dang. Oh, yeah. She's out. She's out.
Now, an injury can occur in a match at any time, and sometimes
see how
it's
her-
not even as a result of a move gone wrong. But some wrestlers appear to be
Oh,
extremely
yeah.
unlucky.
He,
when
I
it
think
comes
he,
to
like,
injury.
tore his ACL or
Sometimes a
something like
wrestler
that.
can be on the end of a devastating injury, but somehow manage to recover and get back to the top of the card. However, sometimes a wrestler being injured can start a string of events that makes their body injury-prone, meaning that they are never the same wrestler again after the initial injury. Now,
Oh,
please
yeah, I
don't
think
take a
I
shot
remember,
every time I mention the word injury. But anyway, join us now as WrestleMania looks at.
Yeah, I think I
11 of the
remember
most
that Wade Barrett,
injured
that
WWE
injury. Of
wrestlers
course, they're gonna have
all
Mortal
time.
Kombat stuff going on. They should, like, somebody should do a compilation of, like, all the WWE injuries and do, like, the Mortal Kombat stuff.
Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily
Shoot, I'll
wrestling
even do
videos
it.
and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists.
Before we answer that, a reminder. Please don't try this at home.
Number 1,
Right.
Triple H. Triple H's injury proneness relates solely to his ability to tear muscles during matches.
When it first happened, I don't know what the hell happened to me. It felt like I'd been shot in the thigh.
His first tear came in May of 2001 when defending the World Tag Team Championships alongside Stone Cold Steve Austin against Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho. Triple H would tear his quadricep completely
That's
off the
crazy.
bone during the match. And incredibly, he managed to finish the match on one leg. I'm gonna tell
Wow.
you, that's guts.
Yeah,
Second that match is over, I'm on the floor just holding onto my leg. It took
That's
every
crazy.
bit of what I had in me to make it through the end of the match.
Then 7 years later at New Year's Revolution, in a match against Rated RKO, Triple H suffered the same injury he had before,
Dang.
but this time with the opposite leg.
wow.
Game has hurt his knee. Uh-oh, that's not good.
That's
In
crazy.
2010, Triple H's injury shifted from his leg to his arm. In a match with Sheamus in 2010,
Bro be having some serious
Triple H would
traveling
tear his
planes,
triceps,
planes,
which put him
pains.
out of action for almost a full year.
And Triple H. Oh my God! Up
Dang.
over the top. Hunter hit hard.
Then again in 2018, Triple H
Bruh.
would tear his triceps once again during the infamous DX vs Brothers of Destruction match in Saudi Arabia. Unfortunately for Triple H, the match was already a disaster, and with him out, he had to rely solely on his teammate Shawn Michaels.
I think I remember that. Then
Spoiler
he
alert,
gonna
he didn't make the match any better.
He gonna show like a bruise afterwards.
And now Kane. Shawn Michaels hit Kane so hard that Kane's mask came off his face.
Number 2, the original Sin Cara. When WWE signed Mystico to WWE in 2011, they had huge plans for the Hispanic star. They wanted him to be a driving force in the Hispanic market and feature him as one of the top talents in the entire company.
They were blowing
would
him
change
up.
Mystico's name to Sin Cara, and unfortunately, there were issues with Cara's attitude as well as his matches from the very beginning.
He seemed like he could have been good too. Because I remember when they were giving him like a massive push when he started. So he seemed like he could have been like a really like good wrestler and stuff. Then it just seemed like he just started declining in WWE, and then eventually he was gone.
In 2012, he tore his tendon, and upon his
Dang.
return in 2012, he hurt his knee on 2 separate occasions. One of the most notable injuries in the WWE tenure of original Sin Cara came on Raw in 2013, early on in a match with Del Rio.
That was an arm drag. Yes, it was. Oh, look at
Oh yeah, did he like dislocate his finger? Then he
Sin
called
Cara
off the
decided he
match.
needed to call the match off as he dislocated his finger.
Yeah.
Now, this was strange, as it was rare for a wrestler themselves to call a match off due to injury.
Dang. Oh
Especially
man,
as,
I can
well,
see it.
We can't say minor, but something as minor in wrestling as a dislocated finger. Cara would cut ties with the WWE in 2013, and WWE
Dang.
would recast the character moving forward.
I think the WWE
Yeah.
universe is just as confused as we are.
Number 3, Daniel Bryan.
Oh yeah.
Daniel Bryan's WWE career started
He was here when he came back for that second run, when it was like because what was he? Well, oh yeah, because I know Brie Bella, they just recently had a kid, so it's, yeah, you know, guy of course stay home with the kids and stuff. But no, when he came back for that second run after he was like from out of retirement to wrestling things, anytime when he got hit across the head or failed a certain way or did something, I'm like, Daniel, please be careful, because like, you the one wrestler representing Washington right now. I need a Washington State wrestler. I know there's like numerous, but he's the guy. He's the guy that's like representing all of Washington right now. So I'm like, bro, I need a Washington wrestler to just be, you know, still be in the business and things.
relatively injury-free. This before a devastating injury during his world title run in 2014, which forced him to undergo serious neck surgery.
It's crazy.
I've been wrestling for 15 years. This is my first surgery. I've been wrestling all around the globe in a style that Triple H could never do. There's never a good time to get injured.
This would put Bryan out for almost 6 months before returning to the ring at the start of 2015. Sadly, during his IC reign in 2015, Bryan was forced to retire after being medically
That's
unable
crazy.
to
He was
compete
out
due to
here.
concussion-related issues.
He was
and
out here,
nagging
too, when he
issues from his
retired.
neck injury the year prior.
I was so
Bryan
mad
would
because I was so like, they had been promoting it like all this time, and I just didn't really, you know, seen the reason to like going to it. Like I had already went to a wrestling show, so I was just all like, I don't know, I just, you know, now I'm like, you know, I really want to like go to a wrestling show now, because I'm like, bruh, it's like everything is going on. It's like makes you want to like go out and do things more. But yeah, I've been like, I was just like, when I seen that he was like wrestling was here, and then he came out here and he retired, and I'm like, man, that's some sad stuff. I was like, that was sad.
then spent a few years acting as the SmackDown GM before being medically cleared to compete back in 2018.
Welcome back, Daniel Bryan.
Everybody's happy about that.
So far in the few years that Bryan has been
Dang,
cleared,
they cut
he's
his head
only been
open?
injured a handful of times. Most notably at WrestleMania 35, Bryan suffered a concussion during his WWE title match against Kofi Kingston. However, Bryan would only miss a month of action. Number 4, Randy Orton.
Oh my God!
Dang.
Inside out by Orton.
Randy Orton is without a doubt one of the safest wrestlers of all time. Orton works an extremely safe and smart style, which means that his opponents can trust him in the ring at all times. However, over the years, Orton has injured himself in some of the most bizarre ways possible. His first injury came in 2002, just a few weeks after his main roster debut.
My shoulder popped out of socket with Christian.
Dang.
I'm like, this is it. You know, I'm 22 or whatever I was, and you know, my career is over.
This injury would put him out of action for almost a full calendar year. He would then be in once again in 2005 during his match against The Undertaker at WrestleMania 21.
I think I remember that
Then
too.
again in 2008, he would be injured during a match with Triple H, injuring his collarbone in the process. Upon recovering from the injury, he immediately re-injured the same body part in a motorcycle accident.
Oh, I remember
Orton
hearing
would then
about
spend
that.
the next decade being sidelined for numerous bizarre injuries. For instance, at Over the Limit 2010, he dislocated his shoulder by doing the ground pound before he was about to hit an RKO.
Nerve damage, perhaps maybe a
That's crazy.
tendon, a bicep.
That man got
And he
bad
has had
shoulder.
a separated shoulder in the past as well.
Making things even worse, this was actually the taunt before he prepares for the RKO. But despite the nature of some of these injuries, Orton has always managed to make a full recovery.
I'm not. Oh, the Viper strikes! Look at this!
Number 5, Edge.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately for Edge, the
Even
TLC
though I was a
match-
kid, and it was like, you know, of course, kids, they're gonna be like, oh, you a bad wrestler, I don't like you and stuff. I was sad when he announced that he was gonna retire. Cause he was like, well, it was Ric Flair. Ric Flair is like the one wrestler. I was just like, okay, you know, it's messed up. He's retiring and all. But I was just like with Edge, nah, that hit me. I was like, that hit the little. How old was I when he had to retire? I think I was like. No, I think I wasn't even a kid. I was like at least 13, 14 years old. So younger, 10 years ago. Like, yeah, dang, that was crazy how that was like 10 years ago, man.
matches of 2000 and 2001, despite making him a household name.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Also set him on a path of career of continuous injury. The first of these injuries
You're like
would come in
censoring out
2003
injuries?
when Edge needed neck surgery. He would miss the majority of 2003 before returning to the Raw brand in 2004 as a top babyface. But sadly, this babyface run would be short-lived as Edge would tear his groin shortly after winning the Intercontinental Championship. Following his 2004 injury, Edge would tear his pec twice and seriously injure his shoulder, as many of these injuries were during when Edge was world
Why is
champion
he
on the
censoring out
SmackDown
injuries? I'm like, bro, injury ain't a bad word. It's injury. Like, that's... Somebody's just like, oh, what's wrong with you? I got an injury. Like, you ain't got to censor it out.
brand.
Torn pectoral muscle and now a ruptured Achilles tendon, Edge. You're injury prone.
Another injury setback in 2009 led to one final run for Edge before he was forced to retire
Yeah.
in 2011.
That was sad. Yeah, he came back. I was just all like, bruh. I heard that. I was like, because I don't know, I don't really be watching. I need to start watching the other pay-per-views and stuff. But man, when I heard that Edge came back, I did watch his WrestleMania match. I did do that. I was like, if he wrestling WrestleMania, I'm watching it. But no, when I heard that he came back, I was just all like, wait a minute, what? Like, hold on now. I'm like, that's...
But 9 years later, he would be cleared to compete, making his return at the 2020 Royal Rumble. However, Edge would injure himself once again on his third match back.
I did a springboard into the second RKO, and that's where it popped.
Dang.
Number 6. The Undertaker.
Oh, yeah.
The Undertaker is a superstar that, despite being injured on several occasions throughout his career, he's managed to continue working the same schedule, albeit apart from times when he needed major surgery. The Undertaker discussed in depth all the injuries he suffered during his career during a 2019 interview with Ed Young. The Undertaker stated, "I've torn a pec, I've torn biceps, I've had several joint surgeries just to get floating bone chips and different things removed. Being concussed, I don't even know how many times. Yeah, it's taken a pretty good toll on the body, so it's kind of smoke and mirrors to kind of keep everything together."
That's crazy.
I'm guessing we're closing in on 20 different orthopedic type surgeries from just wrestling related injuries.
The Undertaker would even break his ankle in the infamous King of the Ring 1998 Hell in a Cell match against Mankind.
He willingly entered it with a broken foot, which speaks volumes as to what type of competitor he is.
However, he would continue to wrestle whilst he recovered. This would be a continuous trend throughout his legendary career. Number 7. Mick Foley.
Yeah.
Mick Foley attained fame by
Undertaker, I know, because it was when they were talking about like that last ride thing, and then they were talking about like all the stuff that was going on with them. I'm like, yeah, Undertaker, I think he'll go down in history as probably one of the best wrestlers of all time. Just all around, you know, man can do it all, so...
being able to take punishment on whatever would come his way in a match and be able to wrestle the following week.
Him being the #1 author, you know, he's done a lot of things in that book.
OG wrestlers, man.
People took exception to.
They just got that
Foley's
power.
first book released in 1999 included a photograph of him with arrows which highlighted all the injuries he had attained over the years. These included a dozen concussions, broken cheekbone, broken jaw, 4 knocked out teeth, separated shoulder, 2 herniated discs, chips in his elbow, bruised kidney, 5 broken ribs, and his right ear ripped off.
I do remember hearing about that.
As I did, I blocked a punch, I threw a punch, and my ear fell off. And I later asked him, what did it look like? He said it looked like a piece of uncooked chicken.
Bear in mind, this list was put together in 1999, which was over 20 years ago. Foley continued to wrestle after populating the aforementioned list, therefore it's kind of unknown what the true extent of all of Foley's injuries are. Number 8. Batista. One of the reasons that the WWE opted to make John Cena the #1 guy in the company over Batista was that Batista was unfortunately extremely injury-prone. The moment he received his initial push was when he was a member of Evolution. He tore his right triceps muscle, setting back his push.
I wanted to go back and impress everybody and be in great shape, and I actually ended up re-injuring my tricep. I tore it right back off the bone.
Dang.
When WWE went all the way with Batista, he would suffer a back injury.
Dang.
Before re-tearing his triceps, meaning he had to vacate the world title. Over the next 5 years, he would be injured on numerous occasions. In 2008, he injured his hamstring. In 2009, he was forced to vacate the WWE title after another bicep injury, and his final injury forced his 2010 retirement.
I quit!
I remember that. I was like, cause my thing was, is like, even though he was in, like he was a heel and stuff, I still had like, nah, Batista, he was still my favorite wrestler. I was just all like, nah, don't quit. I was like, I was the only one. Everybody else, they all like, yeah, quit, Batista, quit. And I'm like, no, don't quit. Don't do that. Please don't. I'm like, wrestling ain't gonna be the same without you, bruh. Like, don't quit, please.
He suffered a compression fracture in his spine.
Last pay-per-view I was in, I broke my back.
Dang.
I ended up having surgery a year later, just because it got to the point where I could barely stand up.
It's crazy.
Number 9, Mark Henry.
In fact, you wanted Vince McMahon to fire me. I was injury prone.
Mark Henry was a talent that WWE struggled to book. Henry signed a 10-year contract in '96, meaning WWE had to utilize him in the best way possible to get a healthy return on their investment.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Here's a man who squats 1,000 pounds, and the King called him in the ring, and look what happened. I can't believe it.
The main issue was that every time WWE attempted to do something substantial with him, he would suffer a devastating injury.
Dang.
For instance, just a few months into his contract, he would be forced to take a year off to heal nagging injury from his weightlifting days.
Fans want to know, Mark, when are you going to be back in the ring here in the WWF?
Well, it should be a week or so. You know, I'm trying to get back as soon as possible.
It's like a friend of mine that I went to school with, like with Mark Henry with like a buzz cut. He looks just like, because my friend was like a little bit swole too, so I'm like, they definitely, I'm like, if, I think it was just more so because I was like a little bit taller than him. I'm like, if he was just a tad bit taller, he could do like a Mark Henry biopic.
And then 2002 comes along and Henry would be pushed heavily on SmackDown before a knee injury set him back yet again.
Henry fights right back, and Mark Henry, straight, Goldberg, got him, Goldberg, that's usually Goldberg.
A year later, Henry is once again pushed, but this time on Raw, before he tore his quadricep.
Dang.
After a few sustained years of Henry remaining healthy, they went all the way with him and opted to put the world title on him.
That's all. I don't have to say nothing. Everything needs to be said is right there.
I'm like, all right, brother.
And to Henry's credit, he did a great job with the reign, but unfortunately it wouldn't be long before he was once again injured. He would spend the next couple of years appearing sporadically, and in 2017, he officially retired after a 20-plus year career. Number 10, Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio's high-flying, innovative style was one day going to catch up to him, and it certainly did when Rey signed with the WWE.
Isn't he injured now? Or he got like an injury now?
After a few years of maintaining the WWE's full-time schedule, Rey's knees were unfortunately giving out on him.
Oh my Lord, enough already.
Yes. You would think, like, I don't know.
Meaning he had to have knee surgery in 2006. This unfortunately sent Rey on a path of continuous injury.
I have mixed emotions right now. I don't know if I'm going to come back.
A leg move like that? I don't, because my leg can't move like that.
In 2008, he suffered a triceps tear just before WrestleMania 24.
Shot him into the turnbuckle. As I did the motion, I pushed against his body, and I just heard a snap and almost like a cramp.
In the summer of 2011, he needed surgery for an undisclosed injury and would miss almost a year of in-ring action. Following his return, it would only be a few months before Rey would once again be injured. This time, Rey's knees were once again causing him issues, meaning he would have to have surgery. Rey would then go on to have minor injury throughout his other WWE appearances. Most recently, he would suffer an injury at 2020's Payback pay-per-view, as Rey suffered another torn triceps, which could put him out of action for up to 6 months.
My tricep I don't have.
That's what I'm
exact
like with
timetable.
Dominic. I'm all like, bro, cause Dominic be doing some wild stuff. So I'm all like, hey, bro, like, chill on that a little bit, you know, cause you just started. I'm like, all right, Dominic. He's one of those guys. Where I'm like, I see he gonna be big. He gonna be big.
But I can't wait to get back in this ring and put an end to Seth Rollins.
I was all like, I seen there was, I forget, I can't even think of her name, but the girl, she be having the microphone stuff. I thought she was like a part of the family. I was just like, yo, wait a minute, it's the daughter, the mom, Dominic and Ray. Who is that? I was like, I don't remember. Did they have a second daughter? I was just like, no, that's the girl. Freaking her name. I think her name's Charlie. I think that's her. I don't know. I don't be paying attention to there's like wrestlers I still don't know their names by heart, so I'm still figuring out stuff.
Samoa Joe.
Oh yeah, because he's out on injury right now.
Oh my God, it's Samoa Joe! Samoa Joe!
When Samoa Joe made his main roster debut in 2017,
He injured Seth Rollins
he had
with
a
this
lot of
one.
years on him, meaning that
Oh, no,
sooner
they ain't
or
gonna show
later
it.
the injury would come. The first injury Joe suffered during his WWE run would be in August of 2017, hurting his knees during a house show match, which resulted in missing 8 weeks of action. Then just 2 months later, Joe would hurt his foot in a match on Raw against Titus O'Neil, which meant that he would miss that year's WrestleMania event. In 2019, he was once again hurt, dealing with a broken thumb and back problems, which resulted in him having a stint on commentary. Once Joe was cleared, he would suffer a concussion whilst filming a Raw promo video, which would once again render him unable to compete and would force him to go back to the commentary table.
Wow.
But there you have it, guys. 11 most injury-prone WWE wrestlers of all time.
get hurt
Be sure to
doing a
leave your comments
promo
down
video?
below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists. And I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.
That's crazy. I've never heard somebody they get injured doing a promo. That is some wild stuff right there. But no, that was a pretty good video. Shout out to WrestleLamia. If you guys haven't, make sure you guys go subscribe to him for more videos like this. Like, subscribe to me too, and I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.